Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta. I'm a healer, and this is a pick a card reading where we are looking to help you heal relational baggage. So, this is relationships understood in a large sense: romantic relationships, friends, family, workplace, societal relationships. However, you have been engaging with people, and it won't be the same for everybody. There are going to be levels at which you feel a particular level of pressure or, again, have baggage. And so, Spirit is going to speak to that and give you some guidance, some advice, and also a way forward so that you can enjoy better relationships in that area and also in general. So, love, we have three options. We have got the first option, which is a peace stone. The second option in the middle is the joy stone. And then the third option is the resource stone. Timestamps are in the description box, and I will see you for your reading in just a little bit. Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to those of you who chose the first option, which is this peace stone. We have here a message about how to heal relational baggage. And this is really an awesome message for you in the sense that I think that it can be very transformative. And so I would invite you to really pay attention to the messages coming through and also to deepen them by maybe looking into other resources, other things that could really help you to understand how you're being affected by the dynamics described here. So we're going to start with the overall energy, and then we're deepening here what the but the healing baggage is. And then here we will get more in depth with advice and how to proceed as you move forward. So we have an overall energy of sexual freedom. Then we have surrender stress, reach out, Two of Cups, Two of Pentacles, and Major Arcana number 11, Justice. So the message that Spirit has for you here, starting with this overall energy, the relational baggage that you have is energetic in nature, and it's very much talking about how you exchange energies with other people. Now, you can look away from the sexual freedom. For some of you, this is very much sexually and in intimate relationships and connections. And Spirit is saying actually it's at so many different levels of connection. Like you see this spiral here going in both directions, shifting levels. It's at very many levels of connection. Is that you are exchanging energies with people very freely, and those energies tend to stay stuck with you. So you could be someone who identifies as an empath, someone who's very in tune with other people's energies, or you may not be aware of this. So you may experience this as stress. You may experience it as maybe feeling overwhelmed and you don't know why, irritable, you don't know why, stressed, you don't know why, strained, you don't know why, and so on and so forth. That this is really talking about you being an energetic sponge where you're sucking in other people's energies, other people's dynamics, and they are staying with you. Now, with the beauty of this energy, sometimes it's good stuff too. You could be feeling really happy and you don't know why. You could feel really buoyant and you don't know why. So there's this energy of you also really liking these dynamics with the Two of Cups. You're someone who really loves to connect with other people, and so the Two of Cups showing up in this dynamic is talking about maybe a romanticizing of this ability, that you also can feel very proud of being able to connect so deeply with others, to feel other people's emotions. And so what Spirit is saying is that in the light of it, yeah, because with the Two of Pentacles and even the Justice card, there's a light aspect and there's a dark aspect. There's an aspect where you can really connect with people and create intimacy very easily, in almost very straightforward kind of ways, where you are so good at being in touch, being in tuned, and creating harmony with other people. And again, might be able to do this with intimate people or people very close to you, but also with strangers. But there's the other side of it. There are two levels to it. There's a level where it feels good and it's wonderful, and then there's a level where it actually is also a source of stress and a source of heaviness. And the message that Spirit has for you is that you basically cannot have it both ways. You cannot have it where it feels really good and it's something beautiful that you romanticize and you value, and then that side where it's heavy and you're paying a cost, you're paying a price. It's like it invades your personal space, your private space, your own private being, and it creates stress, creates a form of hardship, heaviness things that you're not supposed to experience, because with the Major Arcana number 11, Justice, just with Major Arcana is talking about soul level dynamics, you are intended to function like this at a deep level. Justice, this is how you're made to be. You are someone who acts as an energetic transformer. You have this ability, and you have the ability to take dark energy, and you see how she's creating butterflies and bringing in transformation and evolution. You have this ability. But again, there's an aspect of the dark and an aspect of the light. And the aspect of the dark has very much to do with transmuting, transforming, elevating, heavier vibration, heavier emotions, heavier situations and circumstances too. You could be someone who's in a room and there's something heavy going on, and you just have this ability to uplift everyone, to uplift the mood, to change the mood. You say something, you act something. Even just your presence is a massive source of energy transformation, energy upliftment, and energy amelioration. It is very beautiful. It is very profound. And again, you are intended to experience this kind of you are intended to experience this kind and this depth of connection. You really are. You are made like this. And I'm being shown like a radio. A radio picks up signals. That's what it's supposed to do. And so in the same way, you are intended to pick up on all of these emotions. However, with reach out here, you see how there are different levels of reach out. You're not intended to engage with this at all levels and in all ways. And I feel like it's going to be very different for everyone watching. And it's about finding the right level and the right dynamics. For some of you, you work with a lot of people who experience difficult situations and circumstances. So for example, you work in a hospital, you work as a psychologist, you work as a child psychologist, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot about being in fields, having a career where you engage with a lot of people. You could even be a singer and a performer and have this kind of ability, and then do this for a lot of people, right? You could be a reader with your YouTube channel, and then you do this for a lot of people. You work this gift and ability with a lot of people. For others of you, this is something that you are intended to use and to work at home with your children, which would be an amazing gift and ability as a parent to be able to do for children as they're growing up, especially in this society that we're in. You do this for loved ones, you do this with friends, or again, you do this with clients, but maybe you have a client every week, right? It's something very clearly about finding the right level where it applies, because what's happening currently is that you're doing it on levels where you're not supposed to do it. You're doing it maybe on all levels, with yourself, at home, with your neighbor, with your colleagues, with thousands of people on the internet, and so on and so forth. And you could do this reading a comment section. So that's also thousands of people. If you're on a video, 15,000 people, and you're on a video where everybody's spewing frustration and outrage and so on, then you're in there, your energy's in there, cleansing and transmuting the energy of thousands of people. And so it's very important that you become aware, because again, with justice, it's about the right space, the right level, the right way, the right approach. There's a way in which you can experience this as something so beautiful and so light. And you see how she's turning her back to the white tree. It's like she's got this. I got the light of it. I got the light of it. Now I'm consciously working with the dark of it. I don't need to consciously be working every single emotion that comes along. There's just a way in which you start to do this very intuitively, very intentionally intuitively, right? Or intuitionally intuitive. But you start to do it in a way where you're working these energy dynamics in the way that you're supposed to, that you're intended to, in alignment with your initial makeup. The levels are so important. It's so important. And for anyone who does any kind of energy work, understanding the levels is crucial. Sometimes there are things we have to do on ourselves, and then we don't externalize it. And sometimes there's things we have to do out in the world. I remember meeting someone who was a coach, and we were talking about our calling and how we work with people. And she said that she was so happy to find out that she was a coach, because once she got that, she could really channel her energy. And then her husband piped in, and her husband said, and then she stopped coaching me. So she started working with her clients, and then all of a sudden her husband doesn't need to be coached by her so that she can get that coaching energy out, which of course means some strain getting taken off their relationship. And the strangest being that it's an energy that didn't belong there. And so this is something that is going to potentially really lighten your load and allow you to shed a lot of stress strain, where you can come into a right alignment and no longer experience it as something stressful, something burdensome, something difficult, but instead kind of shift the narrative, shift the dynamic into something higher, where you can have a higher experience of how you are, how you're made to function, how you exist, all right? And especially how you relate to others. So let's look into the advice. We have base chakra, we have commitment upside down, we have five of swords with fear, we have the equivalent of the four of cups with desire, and we have the ace of cups with ecstasy. Now in this deck, when the cards are upside down, for me, it's how I read the deck. I just put the cards that way because then I know that it is self-directed energy, which is so important in a relational deck. Is it in the relationship or is it me? Again, finding that level within or without. So we're going to start with this one since I did. And it says commitment. You dedicate yourself to your beliefs wholeheartedly, knowing that love is the essence of your very being. And commitment in this instance is talking about you being committed to who you are. There's a reason why you do this. There's a reason why you're built like this. There's a reason why you function like this. And again, to some extent, it's something that you like, something that you enjoy, a way in which you're connecting with other people that really makes sense to you in a profound way. And Spirit is saying, don't leave that out. Commit to keeping those channels open, because for some of you, you have been pulling in a little bit, keeping to yourself more. And so commit to that and know that you can have a harmonious, healthy, thriving experience of your abilities, just in a way that is, with the base chakra, a lot more balanced. So base chakra is talking about grounding yourself. It's talking about you being secure. And at the core of it, this is something that I learned because obviously based on what I do, I also am highly empathetic and working with transforming energies. And so the base chakra, what I have found is that you need to have an commitment. I almost said attachment, in the sense that it is that visceral. It's a commitment to your own reality, your own stability, your own security. It's this feeling that no, you're not allowed to intrude. You're not allowed to bring me down. You're not allowed to weigh heavy on me. This is my reality. I'm in ecstasy over here. Self-love, self-awareness. This is my space. This is me. And I get to feel good. And I get to have a wonderful time here and now in my space. If I do engage with you, if I do feel your energy, if I do go down that path, then I can do so in a way where I keep my distance to it. Like her eyes are blindfolded here. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to bathe in it. I don't have to identify with it. I'm secure in me and in my reality. And I do not allow anything or anyone, there are boundaries here. I do not allow anything or anyone to overstep into my reality, because it's not my stuff. It's your stuff. It is not mine. And so it's about being very aware of your own space, of your own energy. And so not allowing anything else to overstep. With the fear card here, this is talking about a form of conditioning. It's like you have a conditioning that says that you are always going to be like this. It's always going to be like this. It's just the way it is. I see a lot of empaths say this on social media and feel this way. And to some extent, I used to feel this way until I did the work to make it stop. It's this feeling that this is just the way you are. There's something tragic about it. It's tragic. Some people even feel cursed. They feel burdened, but it's just the way it is. It's always going to be that way. But fundamentally, Spirit is saying, in bringing this card to bring up that sentiment, it's not a Five of Cups. It's a Five of Swords, saying it's a thought that at its core is fearful. It's a fear that it's never going to change. And so in fear, giving up before trying, before even putting in the energy to change it, because if you put in the energy to change it and it really doesn't change, then it's always going to be like this. It's this kind of game that we play with ourselves where we tell ourselves a story in order to hold on to fear because we're afraid of where it's going to lead us, right? We're afraid of finding out. So we'd rather not know. And then we just don't try to find out because we're afraid that we are not going to like the answer, right? So that was kind of circuitous, but I hope that you got the point. That's kind of how that logic is. It just feeds in on itself and it goes round, 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 round. And you never really break out and you never really come out of it. And Spirit wants you to know that that's what it is at the core of it. There's a fear that this is just the way it is, that this is just the way you are. Also, for some of you, it's a fear that there's something defective about you, something broken, something inherently bad about you, inherently worthless, which is why you are overrun by everybody else's emotions, because there's no sense of real ownership of your worth in your reality, in your energetic reality, because that sense of worth is the one that sets up the boundary. It's a natural boundary. This is not my energy. I feel good. I like me. So when this shows up, that's not me. I can know that that's not me. That's not my energy. And I don't need to house it. I don't need to engage with it. And so desire is Spirit saying, start to want this. This is where it begins. You have to start to want to have your own space, to have your own energy, to have, energetic sovereignty, to have balance. And then you can word it for yourself. For some of you, it's going to be that you want balance. For some of you, it's that you want quiet. For some of you, it's that you want space. So not to be so close to others. For some of you, you want complete separation from the energies that you're in. For some of you, again, it's a professional realm. So you want convenience. It's about finding what it is that you want. How do you want this energetic dynamic, this energetic relationship that you have with people? How do you want this to be? And then commit to that. But it first takes overcoming the fear, becoming aware of what it is that you want, and then creating a way where you can immerse yourself in this all the time. And it really goes back to this base chakra. Base chakra is also a grounding card. This is about sleeping well. This is about eating well. This is about being in an environment that is uncluttered. This is about like a life hygiene that supports you and gives you a good basis, a good foundation. Like I said, if you know yourself and you know your emotions, something comes up. Wait, I'm not feeling sad. 5 seconds ago, I wasn't feeling sad. I sat down here next to this random woman that I do not know, and all of a sudden I feel like my child just died. It's like that. That's a very specific example because that actually happened to me in life. But in that moment, I knew I didn't have anything wrong. All was well in my world. And it's like that. There's a level at which we identify with emotions also in our own lives, in our own space, that really allows us to be hooked into dynamics and feelings and experiences that are really not originally our own. So it's about grounding in your own experience and grounding into your body. Also spending time in nature. For some of you, when we go out in nature, it just pulls out a lot of the energy and cleanses us. I love walking under trees, cleanses out my aura beautifully. Showers are amazing. So a lot of practices also with the base chakra, actual practices that allow you to cleanse out your energy, and for you to be doing that on a daily basis. Every single day. For some of you, every single patient that comes in, you have a patient or you have a client, you give them their reading, you wash your hands afterwards, you do something to cleanse the energy, and then you move on to the next and so on and so forth. So it's very much about finding what works for you and then committing to it from a space of committing to yourself and your right to live in a wholesome, healthy reality. And when you give yourself that, ultimately, you're going to come into a space where there's going to be a lot of freedom in merging with other people, freedom in exchanging energies with others in the way that you are divinely made to, in the way that you are universally intended to. So love, that was your reading. I really hope that it served you. And if it did, I would love to hear about it, to drop me some lines and hear how you received this. I do have a last message for you, which says, your treasure is at hand. And in the back it says, sure, you can always find prettier, handsomer, skinnier, wiser, richer, younger, zippier. But more often than not, one learns the most, laughs the loudest, and smiles the widest with those they've already found, especially when they stop looking elsewhere. actually zippier is on quite a few lists. Your treasure is at hand. Again, you can have this. You can have this experience of merging and sharing energy that is just so beautiful and so profound if you will follow the path, right? Do it in the right way, in the healthy way. Because ultimately, when you stop looking elsewhere, stop looking into other people's energy, you're going to find that inside of you, yeah. For some of you, it's also a way of kind of denying what's going on inside of you, but you can have an inner experience that is full, that is happy, that is joyous, that you would not want to give away for a single second to anyone else's reality, right? Because it's your reality, and it's very much about grounding in the treasure that is your own reality, and it is at hand for you. So beyond this reading, there are also other resources, dynamics, stuff is happening around you to really help you heal this. Listen, engage, do the work, and it will work out. So love, that was your reading. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like a more in-depth reading, I do offer intuitive readings, one-on-one readings. We work on self-love, soul connection, love and relationships, and life purpose. And I also have written out some healing work that includes energy clearings, actually, to really help you co-create powerful healing with spirit. So if that speaks to you, check out the description box. It's all on my website. And then otherwise, I will see you here on the channel for more readings. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best with this, and I will be seeing you around. Bye, love. Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to those of you who chose the second option here with the Joy Stone. I had a feeling when I was doing a reading on relationships just in general and healing that you guys would be showing up. You are the divine love group, and this reading is for those of you who are on a path of realizing a divine love union in this lifetime, and also just in general on embodying divine love, where you can experience that with your friends, with family, with your children. Also, for some of you, this is clearly a parenting path, and so there is baggage related to that. So let's get more into depth. We have here the overall energy. On this side, we're going to talk more about this relational baggage, and here we have some advice for you and how to move forward with this. So overall energy, we have love, and this goes a lot with the joy energy, because joy for me is a very spiritual energy, and it very much has to do with when we are embodying our spirituality, how we feel. It is enjoyment, it is food and nurture for the spirit. And in that sense, with this love card, it's speaking to you being very much in alignment with that vibration, that you're someone who feels joy from love, being loved and giving love. And everyone would do that, but for you, it's very much about unconditional love. With this Six of Wands here, there is an understanding of love as something that you succeed at, something that you're really good at, something that you're even triumphant at. You see how here there's a crowd in the back? Well, these are people who, in this context, I would say, practice conditional love. And then this is you stepping out of that and having the ability to engage in unconditional love with others. And you see in this image how this person is looking at that person and they're looking down, but this is someone giving unconditional love. The other person isn't able to meet it. So even when others can't meet you in unconditional love, it is something that you are very able to practice. And I'm even hearing likely. You are more likely to be practicing unconditional love than not. With the Five of Pentacles, however, you don't have a lot of people to share that with. You don't have a lot of people with whom you can practice unconditional love, where there is that give and take. There's a disconnection here between the hands. And so this card with the Five of Pentacles is talking about not lack, the feeling of lack, which you may be feeling actually, but it's talking much more about scarcity, realized scarcity. For me, the Five of Pentacles. On this earth, there are people who experience scarcity, not enough air, clean air, water, work, money, and so on and so forth. It's realized, it's actual. And in the same way, you have a scarcity, a realized absence of people with whom you can practice unconditional love, giving and sharing love, experiencing love at such a profound, almost cosmic level. And this is very much talking about your spiritual nature. For some of you, you may identify as being star beings. What do they call them? Star seeds, yeah. Which for me is really the signature of your soul, so that you're from a soul collective that has a vibration that is typically higher than what we find here on the planet, and in the souls that are native to Gaia, let me put it that way, and on the planet, actually, with how we are living these days. And so you have that inscribed inside of you. It's part of who you are. This is very much, I am love. I embody love. I feel like it's in your DNA. It's in your cells. It's in who you are. Again, it's in your energy, in your spiritual energy. It's part of your spirit. It's part of your soul and your soul origins and your spiritual energy. You just are so interconnected with love. And it is as natural to you as breathing. And by making it that simple, and again, that unconditional, you really are experiencing love at a very high vibration. However, again, that's not really realized here on the planet. Now, with surrender stubbornness, there's this energy. Let's read the text. It says, if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And I feel like what it is that you tend to try to bring people up to your level. You try to practice unconditional love and then go into an energy where you're expecting other people to practice it with you or to want to practice unconditional love, which is one thing that it really took me a while to learn, is that not everybody aspires to unconditional love, or not everybody aspires to being very spiritual. And that makes sense with their growth and their evolution and where they're at. But it's not obvious to lots of people that it's better to love and it's better to be kind, it's better to be generous, and so on and so forth. And this is something that you have been beating your head up against and coming up against over and over again with people, places, things, situations, even maybe your job, maybe your organization where you work. Maybe your workplace is not as clean or as humanitarian or as moral as you would want it to be, and then expending a lot of energy and a lot of focus, time, resources into getting that other person, getting that space, that place, that project in alignment with unconditional love. Now, this is to some extent normal that you do this because you're intended to. This is part of who you are. You have this role as a leader in love and in connection. So I just got interrupted in doing this, which is my purpose, which is my path. And everything that I kind of experienced during the reading is for me part of the reading, and it's part of this energy. And this is Spirit telling you that everything you've been experiencing with people is very much an interruption in the grand scheme of your life and your path and where you're headed. This is talking about you being a leader. It's the equivalent of the Three of Wands. So this energy of looking to the future and again having optimism, you're intended to learn how to do this. You're intended to learn how to work your love energy in ways that make you very powerful, very successful, so that you do have those relationships where, again, other people look to the dynamics within that relationship and go, how can it be? How can it work like this? Maybe like, oh, how can you forgive this? Or how can you accept that? Or how can they be connected? They're so different. Or how can they be so committed to one another? That's weird. That's this, that's that, right? Whatever people can project onto that. You will have that one day. But it's very much about you taking the lead and surrendering stubbornness, about having it where you think that it should be, where you want it to be. Because that's not how it works. And Spirit is going to talk to you about that in a bit. You've just been going about it in the wrong way. It's like this thing of slamming your head up against the wall over and over and over again. But maybe if you turn your head, then you see, oh, there's a path around the wall. Or there's a different path. There's a different option. There's a different way of going about this. And you can have that. You can have the unconditional love. It just takes surrendering your paradigm until now, like your whole sense of reality until now. And I'm kind of laughing when I say that, because that's what Spirit says. It only takes you releasing your entire paradigm and sense of reality. But that's what the Death card is talking about. You've been in a process, you are in a process where you're changing and transforming and having certain things die off in your life. And the Death card for me is also a card of implosion. When we pull energy back from certain dynamics, they just die away. And so this is Spirit saying that when you can find it in you to stop trying to seek your level of love, your purity of love, your level in the sense of what matches you, so that your match in love in places where it just isn't, where there's scarcity, there's not the ability, it doesn't connect, there's not the ability on the other side to meet you in how you love. When you stop looking for it there, you are going to realize a profound shift and change and transformation within you. This is major arcana energy. So this is deep soul level evolution and growth of your soul learning, oh, not this. But just because I can't have it here doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And it especially doesn't mean that I can't have it there, right? It's this notion of pastures, finding the right pasture, the green pasture. Just because the grass is all dried up and brown on this pasture doesn't mean there's not greener grass over here. Lush, green, moist, delicious grass over here, right? But it's about making the shift and making that transformation, and you are in the process of it. The kind of love that you want to have, let's keep going with the metaphors. It is not the kind of love you can crawl to. You've been trying to crawl to it, and you've been trying to reach that kind of love with others who only crawl. But you're a butterfly, and you're meant to fly. And when you fly, then you can reach that love, and you can have that experience. But it takes the transformation. So let's look at the advice the Spirit has for you. In this instance, we have major arcana number 19, Shine, which is the equivalent of the sun. Again, a card of tremendous triumph. We have willingness upside down, and in this deck, when I read the cards upside down, it's to tell me that it's about us and not the relationship. If it was right side up, it would be about the relationship, or the other person. Upside down, it is about the self. We've got major arcana number 6, Ecstatic Union, the equivalent of the Lovers showed up. We have got the equivalent of the Knight of Wands, Revolution, and we have major arcana number 12 with Mother Mary, Sacrifice. So powerful energy. And when I saw, I kind of knew with the other cards, and then I saw the Lovers, and I was like, yeah, okay. Divine love path, divine love people. And so we're gonna start with this energy here, Shine. This is Spirit telling you, listen. And I feel like maybe Spirit has been telling you this in other ways, and especially in other arenas in your life. It's been coming up in relationships, it's been maybe coming up in other messages. But listen, you can absolutely have a love where you're just open, unguarded. You are loving as much as you possibly can. You don't have to limit it because other people can't handle it. You don't have to try to love in a language that isn't yours. You don't have to go about it in any kind of inauthentic way. You can be yourself and authentically love in the most unconditional, open, free, sweet, gentle, passionate, explosive way possible. Again, in a way that completely suits you. The sun is also a card of authenticity, but the authenticity that is centered, grounded in our essence, our spiritual essence, who we really are. And who you really are is intended to love in this manner. So of course the universe is going to give you what you require to be able to love as you want, as you need, and as you deserve to. There will be that match. You have got to embody that energy, but to embody it in a way where you understand it to be a success. For some of you, there is this baggage of lower self-esteem, Five of Pentacles, certainly. It's like not realizing that the scarcity is in the situation or circumstances, in the relationship to the other person, not in the other person themselves. There's no need to make it personal. It's just that the match doesn't have what it takes. So there's scarcity in the match, in the relationship. And again, this is another person. This is your job. This is your workplace. This is on so many levels, right? And it's about recognizing that level of mismatch and not taking it personally. So there's nothing wrong with you for wanting to love at this level. And I feel like that's what the Maiden Revolution is talking about. It's talking about really getting fired up and passionate about not just love, but how you love and how you want to be loved and how you deserve to be loved, and making love be something so important in your life. And again, in love in the universal sense, in the spiritual sense, to make it something that you're passionate about, to be passionate about loving yourself well, or loving yourself spiritually, loving yourself unconditionally, loving others unconditionally, loving a situation unconditionally, to be very passionate about bringing that kind of energy forward, because Revolution is talking about how it's going to set you on a different cycle of energy. You're going to switch that cycle of energy, where you're going to go from a space of, again, beating yourself head up in the wall, stubbornness, holding on to things that don't honor you, that don't have the capacity to honor you, and instead coming to a space where you're calling it from within you. See that heart, bright, shining heart. And here we have another heart on fire, and here we have another heart on fire, and actually this one is also lit up. And so it's very much about your heart, what is important to you, your passion, your values, your intentions, what do you want for yourself, and being very passionate about realizing love through those intentions, right? To intend love, to value love, unconditional love, to think that it's important, that it matters, and it only has to matter to you. That's like a revolution. You set your energy in a different cycle. Now from there we're going to go to the ecstatic union, which again is talking about being one half of the union in this deck. It talks about the union of spiritual, sexual, and creative energy. So with all of the chakras here, this is talking about being game, being ready, being able also through a process of engaging with a relationship at all levels. We call it wholeheartedly, but it's much more your whole being, your wholenessly, with all that you are. So that this is about you being physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually open and connected to others, so that you don't have thoughts or beliefs that are about separation, right? So for example, you can from your heart want and need unconditional love, but then your values don't really value it. So you see unconditional love people as being sappy, or you have emotional blocks from having loved unconditionally and being treated less than you deserve. And so those levels, those energies are going to work against one another. So this is advice where Spirit is saying to get your energy in a row, get your ducks in a row. And this has a lot to do with what we call, well, personal development, but it's also soul development, it's spiritual development. Actually, all of it, right? All of those levels, human, soul, and spiritual. But it's talking about doing inner work, essentially. And wherever you are called, that's mostly what you're going to need. So some of you are going to need emotional work. Some of you are going to need soul level work. A lot of karmic dynamics, for example. Some of you are going to need spiritual level work, where it really is about inspiration, aspiration. It is about your sense of abundance, your vibration, those kinds of things. And then you do work at that level. Spiritual work is also coming through a spiritual power, as allowing your vision of unconditional love to supersede rules in this world, right? So I'm unconditionally loving to you, but I'm not supposed to call you for 3 days because we just saw each other. That doesn't fit. It's those kinds of things, to really let that love reign freely. And so yeah, there's self-work, let's put it that way, work to do on yourself as someone who is intended to be a partner in those kinds of relationships and circumstances. If you're watching this and you are in alignment with this reading, it's resonating, there's work that you still need to do. However much work you have done, you still have some work to do. For some of you it's a lot, for some of you it's a little, yeah. For some of you, you just got on this path. For some of you, you've been on this path for a long time, so you've already done a lot of work and there's only a little left. So you will know. You will know. And essentially you will know by how burdensome this message feels. If it feels like, oh my God, I don't want to hear it. I want to hear that it's tomorrow. You have work to do. If you're like, yeah, okay, it'll come when it comes, then you're good. But either way, with this Mother Mary sacrifice, what you all need to do, you all have some work needing to be done around sacrificing energies, dynamics, relationships, circumstances, patterns, habits that have to do with putting your energy where it is not supposed to go. your love energy, your unconditional, shining heart. This is sacred. This is precious. You don't put it just any old place. You don't share it with just anybody. And it's about learning to honor that. One of the things, there's a saying that stayed with me from the Bible, which is, I'm paraphrasing, but it's do not cast your pearls before swine. And so if you have a swine, if you have a pig, and you throw, they are omnivorous. They will eat anything. They will eat meat, they will eat veggies, they will eat dirt, they will just eat anything. So they don't have the discernment. They're not able to see this is a pearl. And even if they eat it, they can eat it, right? But they won't know that it's a pearl. They're just going to eat it. And so in the same way, you're giving unconditional love to people, places, things, energies, dynamics, situations that don't have the ability to recognize, oh, I'm getting unconditional love. So first of all, let me enjoy it. Let me be grateful. Or let me reciprocate, and so on and so forth. There's so many people. Do you have any idea how many people experience respect as weakness, kindness as weakness, who see someone being gentle with them and go, oh, let me take advantage, let me attack, or let me scoff at them. It's those kinds of things. And it's very much about a lack of discernment within you if you are casting pearls before swine, and especially if you're then being hurt by it, or you are being saddened by it, or you feel burdened by it. Then it is not the way in which it's supposed to go, and it is something that you need to sacrifice. And you see how, again, this heart that's on fire, the more you sacrifice putting your heart, your love, your sacred divine love and ability to love, the more you start, well, the less you put it in situations and circumstances where it is not honored, the more it is going to thank you for it. Essentially, you're going to keep it to yourself. It's going to burn inside of you. It's going to grow. It's going to evolve. And it is ultimately poof, just going to radiate out of you in ways that also serve a higher purpose, but also that will guide you to the situations or circumstances that you are divinely destined to bring that love into. In some ways, what Spirit is saying is that you're settling. You're settling in these situations or circumstances. Once you pull your energy away from it, you choose to sacrifice it, you choose to be without it, then you can move on into situations where you will not have to settle. There will be that match and you will be successful. Look, everybody looking, what on earth is going on there? Some of them can't even recognize it. What is that? Well, it's unconditional love. It's two people sharing unconditional love. You know, I have this YouTube couple that they watch, they have a family channel, and they have unconditional love. And the amount of comments they get about people who are like, this is weird, or don't believe them, or just don't understand, right? And of course they get lots of comments that people think is beautiful and so on. And like, for example, I would watch them, right? I used to watch them. So it makes sense, but it's very much about having something inside of you. They know what they have, and because they know what they have, they can handle it and experience it in a completely different way. And it shows that discernment, right? They don't need everyone watching to agree. They know what they have. They tend to take care of it, and it's about you learning that skill, learning to care for who you are and the ability you have. And so we have willingness. You are able to compromise if the end result is love. Yes. Ultimately, it's about willingness, right? We can all want to do stuff, but if we're not willing to do what it takes to do that thing or to have it, then it's moot. And this is the point. This is Spirit asking you to really check inside yourself to see if are you willing to let go of these people, let go of these dynamics, let go of these spaces, because maybe they're here right now. And again, they're settling. Maybe you have a habit of settling, and you have free will. Reminder, you have free will. You can absolutely choose to continue in these dynamics. It's 100% up to you. So check your willingness, because on a very basic level, if you were not willing to settle, you wouldn't. So there's a willingness to limit yourself, to dim your own light, to not have everything that you could have. And Spirit is asking you to question that. Why are you willing to be in these dynamics? Why are you willing? I'm seeing your love being trampled on with muddy boots. Why are you willing to have that happen? Check that with yourself and be honest with yourself. And it really also is going to help you unravel all of this. So love, that was the reading. And I do have a takeaway for you, which is be true to yourself. Of course it is. And it says, you may not ever understand what's going on in their life, but you can always figure out what's going on in yours. Tally ho the universe. Well, there you go. That is, love notes from the universe. Tally ho the universe. That's a direct message to you. Be true to yourself. Because what Spirit is also saying in this instance is that ultimately, if you're true to this level of loving and these dynamics, you're going to keep beating your head up against the wall. You're going to keep going down an impasse. You're going to keep being in a situation with scarcity that can never be wholly, completely fulfilling for you. But if you're true to yourself, you can then move on, be in alignment with who you are, who you're intended to be, and then realize situations that also are in that alignment and that are going to provide more love than you could ever possibly imagine. What lies on the other side of this way of giving and receiving love, you think you know, right? You think you know, but you don't actually. you really don't how amazing it is. And it is something that no one can know. I can't even tell you about it because you haven't created it yet. It's a creative act. It's that beautiful. It's that powerful. It's that amazing. And it's that enjoyable, bringing joy into your life. So love, that was your reading. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that it served you. Please drop me some lines. I would love to know how you received this reading, how it speaks to you. And if you would like a more in-depth reading, I do offer intuitive readings. We work on self-love, we work on love and relationships, we work on life purpose, and we also work on soul connection. And then I also have created some healing work. Some of it focused on relationships, where we do energy clearing, we activate people, places, things in your life. We do some also deep, profound healing. Lots of different levels of processes are available. So where you can co-create really powerful healing with Spirit straight away. It's all written down for you to enact. And so if that speaks to you, it's in the description box on my website. And otherwise, love, thank you for watching. May you be blessed always and in always. And I will be seeing you around the channel. Bye. Hi love, hello and welcome to those of you who've chosen the third option, which is my resource stone. And when you look at the stone, it has one side that's a little bit rugged and it has another side that is smooth. So when it's the smooth side that comes up, it means these are resources that you have. And if it is the rugged side, then it is resources to get or resources that you're not using. There's some form of kind of blocked energy at play. So speaking of that, that's basically the baggage. It is to block or unblock your resources when it comes to love and relationships. There's some block to them, and we're going to talk about it and move through it. We have an overall energy of intimacy. On this side, we're going to talk more about the baggage and the blocking, unblocking. We have manifest, surrender to non-action. Major Arcana number 8, strength. 7 of Cups. We have a Major Arcana number 4 with the Emperor. And on this side, it is more about advice and how to move forward. And we'll get to that later. So my love, we're actually going to start here with this Major Arcana number 1, the equivalent of the Magician, which is manifest. Because this is talking about you having the ability to manifest exactly the kind of relationships, plural, that you want to have. So this is a romantic partner, but it is also friendships, work relationships. It is clients. It is even if you're going to the tax office to manifest someone who will help you, you really have the ability to bring to you the love and the help and the support that you need in relationships, because this energy is very connected. So there's your energy and the other person's, and we have here yang and yin. So it speaks to that sometimes you need to give, and you can attract to yourself someone to give to. So for example, that would be a client. You have a product to share. You attract to yourself a client to receive it. Or sometimes you need to receive. And so maybe you're ill and you need a doctor to look at you. So you can attract to yourself the best doctor and so on and so forth. You have an incredible ability when it comes to relationships to really manifest the ties and the connections that you want, that you need, and that you deserve. With surrender to non-action, you're not using it. And with the surrender, there is an aspect of having given into not having that, having accepted that, oh, it's just the way that it is. It does say, now is the time to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power. Let others come to you. So it's something that you have accepted that you don't have, and in turn it's speaking to doing the opposite, where you are actually pushing. We're talking about how some of it is attractive, and then in that instance you maybe are not attracting it, allowing it to come, and you're pushing, and then sometimes you're the one who has to give, and then maybe you overgive or try to be controlling or slip into being controlling, and so on and so forth. So this is talking about an imbalance in giving and taking, receiving, and acting, not acting, yang and yin, masculine and feminine, basically. But here with the intimacy, they're intended to be balanced. And this is talking about, fundamentally, it's about you balancing out your own feminine and masculine energies. If you see here, this feminine energy as it is represented has her head on the heart and is really bathing in the intimacy and really wants this and really is not hungering for it, but feeling a deep, profound need for it. And then we have the masculine energy that's a little bit out of it, and the head is out of this water. So it speaks to going into your head a little bit over this and overthinking things, overthinking relationships, overthinking the back and forth, overthinking the balance. And again, going into patterns of expectations and with the feminine energy, neediness, expectation, control, pushing with the masculine energy. It's like a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's, you may be in a place where you're looking at relationships and you just go like, I don't understand why it's not working. And it really has to do with, this is so interesting. And again, it's a general reading, so I'll be as specific as I can be. It's speaking to this kind of dynamic where from feminine space, you really love relationships and you have love to give and love to share. And so you want to give it, and then you're not consciously intending how to give your love or even how to receive love. And so you're just not doing it intentionally. So you don't get exactly what you need. And then you go into neediness because you're not getting what you need. And because you're feeling needy, then you go into control in order to get what it is that you want. But then you get something, but it's not going to be what you want because what you want is freely given. So it's a whole pattern, and you can listen back to that. It felt very specific when I was saying it, because it's talking about, again, masculine and feminine energy feeding into one another and ultimately getting you what you don't want when you do have the resources to get what you want. See here, this is the Psychic Tarot for the Heart. So I felt like going to check this card. You're the only reading I did that for, and it makes sense. When you start the text, it says, this is a time of great power for you. The Manifest card is here to tell you that anything is possible. You have all the tools at your disposal to create whatever you desire. You have a variety of tools that can be put to good use. The ability to love unconditionally, to support, to cherish, to listen, to understand, to forgive, to be kind, to be joyful, and even to be silly. All of these are useful tools in managing affairs of the heart. Exactly. You have all the tools that you need. You have the resources that you need. And again, you could be like, it doesn't make sense that I'm not in this relationship or that I don't have the relationships that I want to have. And I really feel this is at every single level. This is, years ago, we were going to the emergency room with a loved one. And they actually insisted for me to go with them. And they said, when you're there, things just go better. So we went to the emergency room. On the way, I started to pray. I started to pray for us to get the help, to get the support. I started to, that's why I create healing work, ask for very specific things in specific ways. Manifest, very specific, intentional. So I did that. And when we got there, we got in very quickly. We got an awesome doctor. We got also this thing where my loved one said just the right thing. It's like, if they say that they need this, then it goes fast. If they say that they don't need it, then it goes slow. And they just knew to say the right thing, because also they have their higher connection that told them say this. And it just started to move so quickly, and the whole experience went a lot better. It's like that. You can have this going to the bank, you can have this doing your shopping, you can have this with the person who appraises your taxes. At every single level you can manifest this. And of course you can have this with friends, even with family. You can have this with romantic relationships, connections at work, different workplaces. You can really manifest. And when you think about one thing that the pandemic really showed us is how much relationships run through the fabric of life. To get a haircut, to go to the gym, all of these things are supported by relationships. And so if you can master this, of mastering how to manifest the relationships that you need to help you along your way, every single aspect of your life could benefit. It's really that powerful. And Spirit wants you to know that. It just requires you becoming very intimate with what it is that you authentically want, need, and deserve in relationships, and then having this courage to go look for it. With the Strength card, that courage, we have here the green man, we have the lion. It's also the courage, the spiritual power to tame your animal instincts and aspects. We are herd animals. Humans are herd animals. And we are hardwired from a very, very long time to live together and work together. And we also therefore are hardwired to be afraid of abandonment, separation, also old age, because we won't be able to survive and all these things, maybe get abandoned, and so on and so forth. So there are dynamics that we, as animals, we are animals also. As animals, there are things that we fear and that we bring into relationships. And this is talking about allowing that higher part of yourself to tame your human animal self and tell yourself it's okay. You're not going to be abandoned if you do this. If you try to get the right kind of relationships for you, the relationships that suit you, you're not going to end up alone. You're not going to be abandoned. Or also to tame those parts of you that just go into any kind of relationships just to be with someone, or listen to anyone because they're there, right? Or someone smiled at you and it makes you feel at peace, so you're going to choose them as your doctor when they don't even have the right specialty, maybe, right? It's those kinds of things. Like everything that in your animal self would cause you to step away from the power of the manifestation. I do also feel something about being too trusting, and also this thing we have, giving people the benefit of the doubt. Why? You just met them, right? You give people people you trust, that's who you give the benefit of the doubt to. It's those kinds of things, those basic animal things to overcome so that you can then manifest. Yes, this person looks cute. Like, we have these things, right? There are some faces we trust. There are some statures if someone is taller, or then there's society and our conditioning where we trust more a man in a certain position. Well, maybe that woman doctor, again, example with the doctors, but maybe that woman in this position that women don't typically have, but maybe this one, that means that she's brilliant and she's going to be able to help you better. It's those kinds of things, to really not come at it from this base way. So having somebody is better than having no one. Hear that one a lot. What else is there? I'm getting too old. I'm too sick. I'm too, these kinds of limitations, to be very strong against that. With the Seven of Cups, picture 1,000 words. And look how she's looking at it. You see here how she has a basket. It's going back to those resources. And I feel like we're already giving advice, but this is the emotional baggage to drop. You have so many resources. You have the ability to have really beautiful relationships, and far more, Spirit is saying, than 99% of people in the world. So you can be picky, but you also need to be picky, because you need some level of match of it coming back to you. It's this thing about, let's say for example, you have a PhD in a subject. You need someone else with at least a college degree to somewhat understand what you're saying. If you try to talk to a 3-year-old or even a high schooler, they won't understand a word you're saying. You need this, what would be the word, Spirit? It is relevance. You need relevance. You need people, places, things, dynamics where you can get that back. And this is talking about what to manifest. Okay, so as you're manifesting, to be manifesting away from fears and away from basic human drives, in the same way to be manifesting in a way where you are using the skills you already have, the resources you already have, to bring something that matches it, right? So this person has already picked these vegetables and these fruits, so they already know how to judge whether or not something is ripe. And it's about applying the same skills to the engagements and relationships, the dynamics that you are going to be moving in, or that you already are in. So for example, going back to the degree, if you have a college degree, then you know how to read. You know how to structure yourself, work your time. And so why would you go into a dynamic about relationships where you throw that out the window, where you are not applying the skills that you have? If you have already in your life, you've built things for yourself. That's the energy I'm getting. You've already accomplished a lot of things. And especially if we're talking about relationship skills, you've probably done a lot of inner work. So if you've learned to be mature and be patient, why go into seeking relationships where the other people aren't mature and they aren't patient? If you've learned to be monogamous, why be in a relationship where the other person hasn't learned that and hasn't practiced it, doesn't know how to practice it? It's talking about skills, it's talking about abilities. And monogamy, like all those things in the way the Spirit is presenting it, it's a skill. It's something that you develop, something that a 15-year-old is not so good at, a 20-year-old, and then 25 with age, right? With practice, we get better and better. And so you have very highly developed skills, relational skills. And it's about manifesting something that is in alignment with that. And that goes, again, if you go to a bank teller, manifest someone who can speak your language. If you are kind and you're respectful, manifest people who are kind and respectful back to you. It's actually speaking to a kind of baseline in your life. If this is just what you're manifesting on automatic, the way this energy is just flowing like that, then whether you go to the bank or the library, or you're talking to a friend or even a family member, they will have to align with this in some way, because with the Emperor, you are the one holding the power in the situation and circumstance. This is something that I have personally experienced, and a lot of people have. When you shift your energy, and for example, there are certain things you don't allow people to say to you, then people don't say those things to you. They don't talk to you that way. They don't treat you that way. You really can energetically ban certain energies from your life, ban certain dynamics from happening. And in the same way, you can manifest others, right? So if you're always going to go to the bank and you ban that one bank teller that's going to be unfair, then you automatically also are manifesting the bank teller that's going to be fair. It's the yang and the yin aspect. If you're deselecting something, then you are selecting something else at the same time. All of this is abilities that you can consciously work, that you can consciously make use of. And so let's go to the advice now. Wow, that was a lot. So so that was a lot Spirit has to say. Yeah, and Spirit says, because this is a rare ability. This is a very rare ability that not everybody has, but it's something that can really affect your life in a profound way if you will do the work of utilizing this resource. So piece of advice number 1, detach. Yeah. You have got to be okay being done with not enough. This desert here with the snow, nothing growing, and you have to be willing to step into a higher level of reality when it comes to relationships. With the frost here in the back, Spirit is acknowledging you've not had what it is that you want, that you need, and that you deserve. For so many of you, I'm getting so much disrespect and really not being treated fairly, and again, not in the way that you deserve. And there is no shortage of where this could happen. This could be in your family, and or at work, and or with friends, and or at the bank, and or with the doctor, and so on and so forth. There's so many different things. And for some of you, unfortunately, if we have a certain skin color or a certain gender or a certain sexual orientation, then it can just be almost like on a daily, right? But you can detach from that. What you have experienced doesn't have to be where you're headed. And it's about you choosing for it not to be the case. And this is major arcana number 11, mastery of the energy. So it's about mastering your own energy in regards to where you've been and what you've experienced. Meaning, don't let your past, don't let your experience tell you what your energy can do. That's never how it works. Your energy tells you what you can do, and you tell reality how to be. That's the energy. You, divine masculine energy, come into that space of power, and you tell your reality. You project it onto the reality. I'm going to be respected. I am going to be loved. I'm going to be appreciated. I'm going to be treasured. And I have all the tools to do that. I know how to communicate well. I know how to size up someone's character. I know how to set boundaries. I know how to show up. I know how to be loving. I know how to be kind. I know how to be patient. I am worthy of all of this, and I have the ability to manifest it and to make it happen. So that's what it's going to be, and not where we've been, because I'm done with that. I'm done. And that comes from a deep space inside of you. And ownership speaks to that. Ownership. You acknowledge your misdeeds and accomplishments alike and learn to love them all as lessons. And this is Spirit saying, in this deck, when I read this deck, if I put the card right side up, it means that it is about the other person. And if it's upside down, then it is about ourselves. And actually, in every single reading, it came up upside down. Ownership is on you, meaning you're not going to be able to change this dynamic if you're focusing on other people, what other people didn't do. Again, Spirit is acknowledging you have not been treated the way that you wanted to, that you needed to, that you deserve to be treated in relationships by and large. That has not happened, absolutely. And in a more specific way, we can say that certain things happen that are absolutely unacceptable. They should not have happened in relationships, and it is not your fault. However, you have ownership of what happens now. You can manifest where you go from here. And if you stay focused on who did what, when, where, and in a state of victimhood, then that's also where you're going to put your energy, and that's what you're going to keep manifesting. So there has to be a point where you step up and you say, transmutation, I'm going to change this. This is a King of Wands, the equivalent of a King of Wands. A King of Wands for me is the energy of I lead the life that I want to lead. I choose the life that I lead. And so it's for you to step up and transmute. Transmutation is an alchemical process where we make something over into a higher version of itself. Still relationships. It can even be the same relationships, the same people, the same job. But when you show up tomorrow or the next time, you're going to show up from a different energy, or whenever you align with this, right? You have free will. It is completely up to you. That's the point. And so whenever you decide to, you step into those spaces and you transmute it and you make it into a higher version. Hey, from now on, respect is going to reign here. From now on, you're not going to talk to me this way. This is not going to happen. And at the very least, I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to act the way that I used to. And as you bring that energy, then you can transmute the relationship, the interaction, the space, the dynamic. You can bring that transformative energy to it. And again, ownership. You do things different, not control. You can't control what other people do. They may or may not do it. They may or may not go with it. But you're showing up as a crone in this deck, which is this archetype of divine feminine wisdom. And again, it's the equivalent of King of Wands. We have the Strength card here. We have the Manifest, and we have the Emperor, and we have the Resource Stone. You know how to do this. It even was a message part of this. You know how to do this. You know how to do this. That's why you're showing up as a king. You're not showing up as a queen or even a knight or even a page. You have the ability, mastery here, master number 11, mastery with the fire. You have the ability to implement this new energy at a masterful level. You just have to pull on the resources that you already have, that you have developed. And for some of you, have developed in the hard way, right? In the fire, in the flames, rise, be renewed, like phoenix energy. What to focus on in order to really drive that is nurturance. What's good for you, what's right for you. It's a wonderful principle to apply, because this should be shared, especially in relationships, meaning people that you're involved with, even casually, let's be honest, even strangers should be invested in your own well-being, just as you should be invested in theirs, right? At the same level. You're not as invested in the well-being of a stranger as you are in the well-being of a parent. That makes complete sense, and that is healthy and balanced. And it's the same kind of thing to find those right levels, right? So you expect a stranger to be respectful to you. That's the minimum that we give one another, is respect. And when that isn't met, you look out for you and you take care of that. For a loved one, then we can maybe expect, yes, in the sense of anticipate, require, we can require that they trust us. We are loved ones, we're close, we have an intimate relationship. Trust has to be there. If trust isn't, then you trust yourself, and then you give yourself what you need in the situation. It is a dead ringer. Is dead ringer the word? But it's one of those things where it is absolutely clear when people don't have your best interest at heart, then it tells you everything you need to know about that engagement, that dynamic, that relationship, right? It doesn't need to be the case all the time. If they don't have it in this situation, it doesn't mean they don't have your best interest at heart at all. But it's speaking to that. It's speaking about you investing in yourself, giving to yourself, nurturing your own highest good, serving your own highest good, and then being very aware of who is okay with that at the very least, and who isn't, and then who feeds into that, who backs you up, who starts feeding and nourishing into your highest good, right? So for example, once I had someone, they were asking me, there was a third person, like we both knew a third person with a loved one, we both knew a third person that I was not speaking to anymore because it was so toxic. The relationship, the engagement, it was so toxic. Every time I would meet them, they would just be racist, hateful, sexist, you name it. Homophobic, whatever. It just kind of spewed out of them, and I just was done with that and moved on. And then this loved one that we had in common was trying to convince me to spend time with them. And they're like, oh, just spend time with them. You don't have to give a lot. Just spend some time. And I said, it makes me feel so bad. It's really horrible for me to spend time with them. Yeah, but just once. And just, dismissed it. You can suffer once, essentially, was the message. You can suffer sometimes. What's the big deal? Wait, you don't have a problem with me suffering? Yeah, I'm going to take your advice and put it very, very low. I'm going to take your advice with a grain of salt, as they say, right? It's like that. It's such an eye-opening process, direction to go in. So that was the equivalent of the Eight of Pentacles, by the way. So it does to speak to work and a practice, a new practice for you to implement. Then we have Maiden of Beauty. Sit back and enjoy the spoils. This would be the equivalent of the Knight of Pentacles in this deck. But in this deck, it talks about beauty and enjoyment. And there's this energy coming forward of how you can root out a lot of trouble, a lot of stress, and a lot of strain from your life, and to see it in that way. So just as much as you're seeking your own highest good, this is talking about setting up a reality and organizing your life, arranging your life. It is Pentacles energy, where things are beautiful, things are calm, things are easy, things are well. And then again, pay very close attention to what other people are bringing. Are they feeding your paradise? Are they expanding it, or are they restricting it? Are they banging on the doors of your paradise saying, yeah, you won't believe what this person did to me yesterday, blah, blah, blah. Like, really be aware of what comes in, and especially there's an expression like every garden must be defended, which often talks about weed. And it's the same thing here. When you create this garden, when you create this high level and you start manifesting the relationships that you want, make sure that you defend it and that you keep it that way. You can't have it both ways. You can't be in this beauty and at this vibration. It's more a frequency actually, but in this vibration and in the frequency that comes from it. You can't be in this frequency and then kind of dip, kind of go back. You wouldn't be able to sustain it. So be very aware of it. And it didn't come in as keep these people out. It came in as maintain the beauty and the ease and the well-being of this. It's not about fighting. It's about from a space of nurturance, building up something and enjoying it so much that you would not even consider allowing anyone to overstep. anyone to overstep. And in this place, when you are dwelling in this space, in this place, you'll be in alignment for other people to join you, other people to join your beautiful world, to step into what then would be real and true intimacy, because you would be in alignment with who you are. They would be in alignment with who you really are and how you really want to love, and you can meet together and really share it. And this is how you will have manifested it for yourself. Oh, wow, that was a powerful, powerful message. So let's look at the takeaway. We have turn on your love light. Well, there you go. Sometimes the best way to remain sane is to love like crazy. Works for me, the universe. Love like crazy. You just have this, this way of loving. This is turn on your love light. Turn on your love creative ability and have it work for you. Let it work for you. It's supposed to. That's what it's for. We have creative ability so that we can create exactly the reality that serves us, that nurtures us, that fulfills us, that is fun, that is joyous, that is a match, right? The universe takes care of everybody all the time, the highest good of all. And so just went, okay, it's really smart if everybody can pitch in and we can co-create the highest good of all, of everyone with their input, because they know themselves best. That's the intent, right? It's not going quite that way on the planet yet. We're the human race yet, but this is the point. This is the path. It's about reclaiming, taking ownership of this power that we do have to co-create beautiful, amazing, fulfilling realities for ourselves. So love, that was your reading. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear how you received this reading, how it's resonating with you. There was a lot, but I would love to hear about it. And if you want to share, and if you would like a more in-depth reading, I do offer intuitive readings where we work on self-love, we work on love and relationships, we work on soul connection, and we work on life purpose. And I also have created a whole bunch of healing work, from small energy clearings all the way to huge healing processes that last up to 16 months. And if you're interested, that is all in the description box. It's written out work where you can speak the words and co-create powerful healing with spirit. Again, asking for very intentional, specific things in specific ways. So if that speaks to you, it's in the description box. I do actually have something about co-creative manifestation. I have 2-3 processes on that. So if that speaks to you, again, lots of love. Wishing you all the best. May you be blessed always, and in all ways, good luck with this, and I will be seeing you around the channel. Bye, love.